Hi, Manna family. The historian Will Durant once wrote, "Talk is cheap because the supply always exceeds the demand." One of the lessons of history is that nothing is often a good thing to do, and always a clever thing to say. King Solomon, a very wise man, once wrote in Proverbs 18:13, "He who gives an answer before he hears is a folly and shame to him." And in chapter 15, verse 28, Solomon writes, "The heart of the righteous ponders how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours out evil things." In medicine, as well as life, diagnosis should always precede prescription. This implies careful listening and thinking to make sure you understand the problem before you prescribe a solution. Listening to a person's little like tuning into a radio station where you change the dial. For best results, you can only listen to one radio station at a time. And the same is true of people. Effective listening requires a one-track mindset, not an eight-track mindset or a multitasking mindset. The word ponder how to answer means to think carefully, to appraise the situation, to reflect and contemplate before you speak or answer or respond. Pondering takes time, and we live in a hurry-up world. Chuck Swindoll tells about the time when his schedule was very tight. He had a lot of speaking engagements, and as a result, his family was beginning to feel very rushed. One day his daughter Colleen said at dinner, "Daddy, I want to tell you something, and I'll tell you really fast." Suddenly realizing her frustration, Chuck responded, "Honey, you can tell me, and you don't have to tell me real fast. Just say it slowly." Chuck writes, "I'll never forget her response. She said, 'Then listen slowly.'" True confession, I do not listen slowly very well, but I am learning. I've got several friends that are coaching me. Stephen Covey writes that one habit of highly effective people is that they seek to understand before being understood. This means listening before speaking. It means taking time to really understand the issues before you comment on them. You know, there's many classes on public speaking, but I've never seen one yet on effective listening. Few things are more obnoxious than a talk show where you have multiple guests all trying to talk over the top of each other in louder and louder voices trying to be heard. Solomon says that that's what the wicked do. They pour out whatever's inside them without filtering it. They don't necessarily care about their choice of words. They just are concerned with stating their own opinions. By way of contrast, Solomon writes in Proverbs 25:11, "Like apples of gold in settings of silver is a word spoken in right circumstances. Like an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold is a wise reprover to a listening ear." And in 15:23, "A man has joy in an apt answer, and how delightful is a timely word." A timely word means a suitable word. It's a response that's appropriate given the current situation, the current circumstances. It's the right word to the right person at the right time for the right reason in the right context. It meets the needs of the moment, which means that we have taken time to understand what the need of the moment is. Consider using fewer words, not more words. The 10 Commandments without commentary is only 79 words, depending on the translation you use. The Lord's Prayer is only 166 words long. The Gettysburg Address, 272 words. Believe it or not, George Washington's second inaugural address was only 130 words long. That's no more than a couple of minutes. By way of contrast, European regulations on growing farm produce are about 32,000 words. Using more words versus using fewer words is like the difference between throwing a handful of sand against a target versus aiming at the target with a bow and arrow and shooting right for the target like a rifle. When we listen slowly and ponder before we speak. We will be able to say only what needs to be said and nothing more. The best way to say the right thing at the right time to the right person is to ask for God's wisdom before we talk to other people. Remember, God designed us to do life together.